3 Scary Stories that actually happened. Late night highway. A lonely highway stretches through the American countryside during a heavy rainstorm. Headlights cut through thick fog as an old sedan moves slowly down the empty road. Dark forests line both sides of the highway, while distant thunder rumbles overhead. Strange radio signal. Inside the car, Ethan nervously flips through radio stations while static crackles through the speakers. Suddenly, a distorted voice whispers his name before the signal cuts out completely. The red glow of the dashboard lights reflects across his uneasy face. The empty gas station. Ethan pulls into an abandoned gas station sitting alone in the middle of nowhere. Broken neon signs flicker weakly above rusted gas pumps while rainwater floods the cracked pavement. The entire place feels frozen in time. Someone watching nearby. As Ethan approaches the station's convenience store, a shadowy figure briefly appears behind the front window. A flash of lightning illuminates the figure before it suddenly disappears. Rain pounds harder against the building as tension builds. The silent store. Inside the store, dusty shelves sit nearly empty beneath flickering fluorescent lights. Old security cameras hang from the ceiling while a low electrical buzzing fills the silence. Ethan calls out for help, but receives no answer. Bloody warning message. Ethan enters the restroom and notices words smeared across the mirror in what appears to be blood. Don't look back. Water drips slowly from a broken sink while the room grows colder and darker. Footsteps in darkness. Heavy footsteps echo somewhere behind the walls of the store. Ethan freezes as shadows seem to move unnaturally between the aisles. The camera slowly follows him through the narrow rows of shelves. The missing employee. Ethan discovers a small employee break room with untouched food still sitting on the table. A television nearby plays loud static while deep scratch marks cover the floor leading toward a dark hallway. The atmosphere becomes increasingly disturbing. Face at the window. While searching for an exit, Ethan suddenly notices a pale face staring at him through the rain-covered window outside. The figure smiles unnaturally before vanishing into the darkness. Thunder crashes overhead as Ethan backs away in fear. The basement door at the back of the store. Ethan finds a heavy metal basement door slowly creaking open on its own. A dim red light glows from below, while faint whispering rises from the darkness underneath. Ethan cautiously steps closer to the stairway. Descending below. Ethan carefully walks down the narrow basement stairs while the metal steps creak beneath him. Flickering red emergency lights reveal strange symbols painted across the concrete walls. The whispering grows louder the deeper he goes. Old surveillance room. At the bottom of the stairs, Ethan discovers a dusty surveillance room filled with outdated monitors. Several screens suddenly power on by themselves, displaying live footage from around the gas station. One monitor shows Ethan standing directly behind himself. The shadow appears. A tall, shadowy figure slowly moves across the hallway outside the surveillance room. The lights flicker violently, while deep breathing echoes through the basement. Ethan backs away in terror as the figure disappears again. Disturbing VHS tape. Ethan inserts an old VHS tape into a dusty television player. Grainy footage reveals terrified people trapped inside the same gas station many years earlier. The recording suddenly cuts to a screaming woman staring directly into the camera. Locked underground. A loud metallic slam echoes from upstairs as the basement door suddenly shuts closed. Ethan rushes toward the stairs and desperately pounds against the locked door. The basement lights dim until only the red emergency glow remains. Voices from the walls. Whispers begin coming from inside the concrete walls, repeatedly calling Ethan's name. Dark stains slowly spread across the ceiling, while his flashlight trembles in his shaking hands. The air feels cold and suffocating. The hidden tunnel. Searching for another way out, Ethan discovers a hidden tunnel concealed behind stacked boxes. The narrow passage is damp and barely lit by swinging overhead bulbs. Deep claw marks cover the walls on both sides. Crawling through darkness. Ethan crawls deeper into the claustrophobic tunnel, while hearing movement somewhere ahead. Water drips from rusty pipes overhead as rats scatter into the darkness. The tunnel grows tighter and more terrifying with every step. The hanging photographs. The tunnel opens into a hidden chamber, filled with photographs hanging from the ceiling. The pictures show missing people from different decades, all connected to the gas station. Ethan notices a brand new photo of himself, taken earlier that night. Something behind him. As Ethan stares at his photograph in shock, slow breathing emerges directly behind him. A dark figure silently stands in the shadows, only a few feet away. Suddenly, Ethan's flashlight dies, plunging the chamber into darkness. Flashlight goes dark. Complete darkness surrounds Ethan as distant footsteps echo throughout the chamber. Brief flashes of lightning reveal twisted figures moving between the shadows. Ethan struggles to control his panic while searching for a way out. The pale woman returns. The pale woman appears at the far end of the chamber beneath a dim red light. Wet hair hangs over her face while her unsettling smile slowly widens. Without speaking, she points toward another hidden tunnel passage. Room full of watches. Ethan enters a strange room where hundreds of stopped watches cover the walls. Old clocks tick out of sync, creating a disturbing rhythm throughout the room. Dust drifts through the freezing cold air. The whispering recording. An old cassette recorder suddenly switches on by itself. A terrified voice warns Ethan to leave before it finds him again. Static interrupts the message while shadows move behind Ethan in the darkness. Door slams shut. As Ethan tries to escape, a heavy metal door violently slams shut in front of him. The clocks on the walls begin ticking faster and louder. The room's lights pulse rapidly like a beating heart. Creature in the hallway. A distorted humanoid creature slowly crawls through the dark hallway outside the room. Its movements are unnatural, while its hollow eyes stare directly at Ethan. Flickering lights reveal only pieces of its horrifying body. Running for survival, Ethan sprints through twisting underground tunnels while the creature chases him through the darkness. Steam bursts from broken pipes as debris crashes around him. The camera shakes violently to create panic and chaos. The old newspaper. Ethan stumbles into a storage room filled with old newspapers scattered across the floor. One headline reveals decades of disappearances connected to the gas station. A faded photograph shows the pale woman standing outside the station many years ago. Emergency exit found. A glowing exit sign flickers weakly at the end of a long corridor. Ethan runs toward the metal door while distant screams echo behind him. Rainwater slowly leaks beneath the doorway, giving him a small sense of hope. The hand from darkness. Just as Ethan reaches for the exit handle, a pale hand suddenly grabs his shoulder from behind. The lights instantly cut out, while a horrifying scream echoes through the tunnel. The screen fades into complete darkness. Dragged into shadows. Ethan is violently dragged backward through the darkness, while his flashlight rolls across the floor. Quick flashes of light reveal distorted faces emerging from the shadows around him. His screams echo endlessly underground. The forgotten victims. Ethan wakes up inside a hidden underground chamber filled with belongings from missing victims. Shoes, photographs, and old suitcases are scattered beneath dim hanging lights. The room feels abandoned, yet strangely preserved. Truth about the station. Newspaper clippings covering the walls reveal the gas station was built over the site of a brutal massacre decades earlier. Burned family photographs hang beside blood-stained headlines. Ethan slowly realizes the horrifying truth behind the disappearances. The pale woman speaks. For the first time, the pale woman steps fully into the light. She quietly warns Ethan that the entity beneath the station never allows anyone to leave alive. Shadows move behind her, while tears stream down her face. Entity awakens. The underground chamber begins shaking violently as deep growls echo from below. Thick black smoke rises through cracks in the floor, while lights explode overhead. A massive shadow slowly forms within the darkness. Escape through fire. Gas pipes rupture, and flames rapidly spread through the underground tunnels. Ethan and the pale woman race through collapsing hallways while fire lights the darkness bright orange. The creature roars somewhere behind. Back to the store. Ethan bursts back into the abandoned convenience store as smoke fills the building. Windows crack from the intense heat while emergency alarms blare throughout the station. Outside, heavy rain pours across the empty parking lot. The woman vanishes. Ethan turns to thank the pale one, but she has mysteriously disappeared. Only wet footprints remain, leading back toward the darkness inside the burning store. Lightning briefly illuminates the empty doorway. The highway return. At sunrise, Ethan drives away from the burning gas station, looking exhausted and traumatized. Fog drifts across the empty highway behind him. In the rearview mirror, a dark figure briefly appears sitting silently in the back seat. The final broadcast. The car radio suddenly switches on by itself as loud static fills the vehicle. A distorted voice whispers, "You can never leave," before the signal abruptly cuts out. Ethan slowly looks into the rearview mirror as the screen fades to black.